Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all. I hope you are doing well. Today is the 24th of March and it's a Monday. Today I'm going to be making some lovely Crackle trellis necklaces with you. So we've done this technique before. I think originally I did these with miracle beads, but we've got the most beautiful Crackle beads today. They've got lovely colour on them and just a really lovely crackled effect. They're very, very pretty. I'm using two sizes of beads. I'm using a 6 and an 8mm bead. We've got some lovely Rattail. All you'll need to make along with me today, I would suggest, is two large eye needles, and I'll show you them. They're also available for you to pick up on the website. You don't have to use a large eye needle. You can just thread them through the bead. The drill hole is large enough. If you wish to as well, you can prep the ends of your thread. So in terms of prepping them in advance, you can coat them in a little bit of clear nail varnish, and when that's dried, you can cut it into a point, and that'll give you a needle tip finish to be able to thread these on through the beads. But I do like to use a large eye needle. They're a little bit twisted and a little bit bent, but personally that helps me distinguish between which needles when I'm making this. I'll talk you through how to make the necklaces, but I will just demo a bracelet for you today using the same technique. Your kits today on the website, you should be able to make 2 necklaces each kit, and we've also, thanks Simon, and we've also got some lovely offers for you as well if you wanted to multi-buy the kit. So I'll say a very quick good morning to you all before I take you down on the mat, and hopefully all the cameras will play along and won't keep switching off on me today. Good morning to Carol. Hello to Heather. How are you doing, my love? Thank you so much for sharing your makes in the group like I asked nicely. It's lovely to see what you've been working on and what you've been making along with us. Rachel's in as well. She's in a sunny Barrow. It's a beautiful bright day today, very nice and sunny. Hopefully it'll get a little bit warmer and we'll have a nice week ahead of us as well. These are very, very bright. So when I shared, well, I say they're bright, they're not overly bright, they're very colourful. And I think they're very summery because I'm using a little flower button clasp. So I have asked when I shared this in the group that you will bring the sunshine with you today, and you did, so thanks for that. Good morning to Elaine. Hello to Kath. Hello to Camille. Oh, Camille's got another dull day. She says, had a good weekend. My weekend was busy. It's my little one's birthday tomorrow, so we had a birthday party yesterday, Saturday. Yeah. I'm not going to go into it. He enjoyed himself, and that was the main thing. Simon has shared the link, so I'm going to share this in the chat, hopefully. If you are looking for where to find them, I'll show you them on the website, but you can head onto this link here, and it is totallybeads.co.uk/Facebook-tutorials/Crackle trellis necklace. I just called them what it was. I didn't give them a name. They do what they say on the tin, as the saying goes. Good morning to Sheila. Says good morning to myself and to fellow beaders. Susan's in as well, wishing everybody a good morning. Hello to Jean, who's in Chicago. Hello to you. She says good morning. I hope you're well, Jean. Thank you for being with us today. Jan says hello to everybody from a bright Sudbury. Anna's in as well, in a sunny Perth. Edward's in, wishing everybody a happy Monday, and Nikki's in as well, saying good morning. Well, good morning to you all. I will take you over to the website, I think, first. Good morning, Sue, and I will show you the offers, and then I'll take you down on the mat so you can see these lovely beads that I'm working with today. So over we go to totallybeads.co.uk. And you can head in. Oh, I'm already there. Jumped the gun a bit, didn't I? Right, I'll take you back out just in case you're wondering how to find it. So there's lots of ways you can go and find our jewellery tutorials. You can head up into making jewellery and then click on video tutorial there. Hopefully you can see that okay. Or you can go down here and there's a little icon. There's 2 icons. There's ones with our faces, us designers, and we've also got this one here with a pair of earrings that I made quite some time ago. And you can see today is the Crackle trellis necklace. So First and foremost, if you would like to use the large or the big eye needles as they're called, they come in large and small and they're both the same price. It just depends what you feel more comfortable working with. I quite like having one long one, a large one, and one small one. So I'm going to put a needle onto each end of my thread, and I find it a little bit just more easy for me to be able to distinguish which side is which, because we are working with quite a long length of that rattail today. So if you want to add them into your basket, if you haven't already got them, you don't have to use them. As I say, you can prep that thread if you prefer, but they're just 75p. So we've got the blue, the bright pink, the green, the grey and the grey pink. They're all making up 2 necklaces in each kit, and they are £8.99 if you use British sterling. Of course, you can change your currency up here to whatever you need to. So hopefully you can see that just there where my little mouse is hovering. So for £8.99, you're making up 2 necklaces, or you can get 2 kits for £15. So you might decide, I really want to use the green one and I really, really want the blue one, and then you can get both of them. If you think, I really love the blue one, you can get 2 of the same colour. That offer still applies. What you might want to do is you might want to mix up the colour of the beads. So you might think the grey would look lovely with the grey pink, or the green would look lovely with the blue, or whatever it is that you want to do. You can mix those beads up as well. It does come with 2 sizes of beads in the same type of bead. So we've got those Crackle glass beads, which are in the 6 and the 8mm. If I hover over, you should be able to see those lovely effects. It almost looks like frozen ice. They're just lovely. So here are your necklaces. This is how it looks on the bust. So you can see how they sit, just graduating those small beads into the larger 8mm. This is it laying flat on the table. So you can see the 2 different pictures. I'm using the split rings, which will just go in between on each one, which will give us that trellis kind of effect. You've got the button clasp, which is a lovely little flower in either the silver or the gold. So the blue and the grey are in the silver. The purple grey is in the rhodium with the silver clasp. And then we have the gold and the rose gold. I think the gold with the green and with the gold clasp. And I think I'm using the rose gold split rings with the gold clasp for the pink. So you're going to get 2 colours of that depending on which one you choose. And your split rings will be different in colour as well. I wonder whether I've done silver, rhodium and black plate on the split rings, but I'm sure if I just pop down a little bit, you'll see it. We've also got that Rattail cord for you as well. So the Rattail I'm using is 1mm in thickness. And you can see, yeah, so for the blue, I've got the silver split rings, the silver flower button clasp, the 2 sizes of those beautiful Crackle quartz, and we also have the Rattail in 1mm. So in terms of your Rattail length, I tend to use a generous arm span. You're going to want double the length of what you want your necklace to be, because we're doubling up that thread. So I tend to use usually over 1 metre, a nice big generous arm span, and then I'll also make a slight adjustable button clasp at the back, so you can make that extendable quite easily. All I'm doing to make those clasps is just some little overhand knots, and I'll show you through that as well. Let me just get my pliers to hand that I may need. You can use a T-pin, you can do whatever you want. I'll use those ones, they'll help. So this one is your beautiful bright pink. Again, all the same components that you need here, the Rattail, your button clasp, your split rings and your 6 and your 8mm. But of course they come in this lovely colour. So we've got a nice clear bright pink in the 8 and the 6. We're using the gold, rose gold split rings, the gold metal button, and we've also got the baby pink 1mm Rattail cord for you there as well. So that's how that one looks. For the green, which is what I'm going to demo with today, really, really pretty. these are your clear green. So part of it is like a clear kind of cracked ice, it looks like to me. And then you've got that lovely colour and tone on the other side as well. I'm using the gold metal flower button with this, and I'm using the champagne gold split rings. I think I've just got gold ones out today to demo with, but that's what I'm going to do. And again, you've got that Rattail hank for you as well. So that is the green one. In terms of that adjustable clasp, I'm going to attach 2 little loops at the back so you can make that as long as you want to. So all the beads will hang around your neckline and around the front, and then you've got that lovely comfortable wear at the back. Just adding a few little beads on for extra dangle. We've got the grey. Again, you're making 2 necklaces up in this kit for that lovely price. These are your grey. So I'm using the silver Rattail cord, the silver metal buttons. I've got the rhodium plated split rings, which are 6mm in size, and then the 2 sizes, 8 and 6mm, of the grey Crackle beads. Very frosty, very pretty, and that's how that one looks. So you can see if I wanted to put my button a little bit further down, I could fit it in that position here or closer to the top. You can do as many of those as you want, which helps, because I think if you're wearing different tops and different kind of clothing, your neckline sometimes changes. You might want it to sit a little bit higher up or further down. This one is the grey and the pink. They are very, very pretty, these beads. I'm using the black plate split rings in this. We've got the silver flower button, the purple Rattail 1mm, and of course the 6 and the 8 Crackle beads there in the grey and the pink. So they're your lovely colours today. Each kit makes 2 necklaces. They're just £8.99 for both of your necklaces. And if you want to buy 2 kits to make 4 necklaces, it's 2 kits for £15. So I hope you like them. I'll show you them down on the mat if my camera will play along. Let me close this one off. And let me bring this one up. Okay, and then I'll head back into the comments while you look at my beauties on the mat. Comments. There we go. So I'm going to say hello to those that have just joined us. Good morning to Nikki. Hello to Sue. Hello to Judith. And Heather saying she loves the green. Christine's in. Hello to you, my love. Yolanda's in, wishing us all a happy Monday. Anastasia's here in Atlanta, watching all the way from there. Thank you for joining us. We've got Camille, who says, I wonder who named the Rattails. I don't know. I don't know. This is your Rattail cord. I mean, suppose it looks a bit like a rat's tail. I don't know. It's very colourful and very nice to work with. Good morning to Anne, and hello to Mina. So here are your colours down on the mat. As you can see, we've got that lovely green with the champagne. And you can see the button is just going to fit nice and snugly through that little loop. So I can just open that up for you. So you could put your button in there or in that hole there, whichever you prefer. And I'm just graduating those beads down. We've got the lovely bright pink. I should move them out the way so you can see them a little better. So hopefully you can see how those beads work. Beautiful bright colour. And then you have a kind of icy crackle tone through the other side, which is clear as well. And again, up to you where you want to attach your button clasps. These are the rose gold split rings. I've got this beautiful blue. Love the colour of this. And again, looking really nice with the Rattail as well. You can't really see the colour of the Rattail through it too much. They do blend in nicely with the beads. Joanne says, good morning, little late. Are they all glass crackle beads? Gorgeous colours they are indeed. This is the purple and the grey, which I've put with the black plate split rings. So if I can lay them like this, you should be able to see that kind of translucency, but also that lovely colour working from the 6 into the 8. Thanks, Pamela, she's so pretty. Morning, Pauline, how are you doing? And then we have these, which are the grey, and that is on the silver rattail. Again, you can make that clasp adjustable. So I'm just tying a little knot around just to slip my button through. And then I'll tie another one so you can add the button through there, and you can keep going with that as much as you want. So I start off getting a nice long generous length of my rattail. I'm using over 1 meter, I would say, just a big long arm span, because whatever length you want, we're going to double it up. So if you want it a certain length, you're going to have to double the length of your cord. And then of course I'm adding a little extra bit as well for the clasp in there. If you were making a bracelet, you would need a less length, but of course you'd still doubling that over. Now the way I've placed my beads, I'm not going to put these all on today because I'm just going to demo a bracelet, but for a necklace I start with 25 of the 6mm crackle beads, and then I scale up into the 8mm and I use about 23 all the way into the middle. And then I finish off again with the 6mm and then another 25. So 25, 23 of the 8mm and 25 again. So it's the same on both sides. That's how I work it. And then I add 2 little 6mm onto the ends just to add like a little tassel. You can do whatever you like in there. You're going to get plenty of beads, enough to make at least 2 necklaces. Good morning to Michelle. How are you doing? Thank you so much. There's really pretty colours. Joanne's saying loving the nails. They are looking worse for wear. But the party was space themed, so I went for space theme. So I'm going to take my rattail cord and I'm folding it in the middle. So the way I find my middle is I'm just going to bring the 2 ends up together, and that will find the middle loop. I'm then going to add on my button. So this is my button, really pretty little flower swirl. You'll see it's got that little hole at the back. So I'm just going to thread that onto one side of my cord, and it should slip on really easily. And then I'm just bringing that into the center. I'm then going to tie an overhand knot, really straightforward. I'm going to just bring it round in a loop. And then I would like my loop to fit fairly close to the button. Now you can just slide that up, but what I tend to do is I do like I'm doing a bit pale knotting really. I'll take myself a T-pin or my pliers and I'll pop it through the loop and then up close towards the button. And I'll just pull that down. And then what you can see is I can move that knot up and down, and it's not going to close while I've got my pliers or my T-pin or whatever you want inside. But I'm just going to push that up with my fingers. So I've got that little knot just holding my button in place. Now the good thing is about knotting it like this is you've got wiggle room on that. And when we come to make our clasp at the end, we want to make sure that we got that wiggle room on that knot, just so we can get it in and out of our buttonholes. So you don't need to double knot it, just one overhand knot should suffice. I'm then going to lay it down flat. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. So I've got my top strand and my bottom strand, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a big eye needle on both of those. If you want to prep it, all I would suggest that you do, if you're not using a large eye needle, you might find that you can get that through the hole no problem anyway. But if you just pop a little bit of clear nail varnish on just to the end here, maybe about 1 centimetre or so, and then once that's dry you can cut it with your cutters or some sharp scissors and just cut it into a little needle tip finish, and that should help you get it through the drill hole a little bit easier. If you're not doing that, then all I'm going to do is use large eye needles. So if I push that down, you can see the hole in the needle, instead of having that tiny little eyelet at the end to try and squeeze my thread through, it opens up all the way from the top to the bottom. So I can get that cord in nice and easy. This is a 1mm Rattail, so it's quite thick. It will fit through those drill holes, no problem. But having that large eye needle, I'm never going to get that through a size 10 beading needle. So using the large eye needles are a great way of working. So I've got my needles on the top and the bottom, and I'm just going to lay them flat. Now I'm going to start with my smaller beads, my 6mm beads, and I'm just going to pop that onto the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go for the top, and I'm sliding my 6mm bead on, and that's going to go towards the bottom by that flower clasp. And then I'm going to get my split ring. Split ring is a little bit like a jump ring. You can see it's wrapped around twice. So it does open up, but you could, I suppose, you could use a closed ring for this. You could use jump rings, but you'd have to make sure every one of your jump rings was perfectly closed. And that's just time consuming. I'd also double up and add 2 on. Using a split ring just does that for you. It's all perfectly closed. It's not going to open up, and it's going to give the effect that I've got 2 jump rings on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my top thread and my bottom thread, and I'm sliding that split ring over both of them. I'm pushing that down towards the bead. I'm then going to take my bottom piece of Rattail, and I'm going to add another 6mm bead onto there. And every time I add a bead on, I'm going to bring both of my needles together and place my split ring over both of them. So it's a really straightforward pattern to do. I'm literally going to do top with a bead. So that bead's just always going to go on one, either the top or the bottom. The split ring is always going to go over both. So you can see by just having these large eye needles or the big eye needles, I'm easily just getting that on, no problem. But laying it flat on my table will help me just, or my mat or whatever I'm doing, will help me just distinguish which is the top and which is the bottom. And then I'm popping one on the bottom. And after every bead that I put on, I'm going to add a split ring. So it's alternating between the beads position and between the split ring. And then I'll just pull that up. And you can see already, it's quite a quick make, that I'm getting that little Rattail kind of trellis effect. So top, split ring, bottom, split ring, top, split ring, bottom, split ring. Top, both, bottom, both, top, both, bottom, both. It's very straightforward and a nice, lovely make. So as I say, when I am using the 6mm beads, I tend to add on 25 of those before I move into the 8mm and graduate that up. And then I will add on 23 beads of the 8mm, and then I will go back down to the 6mm and I'll put another 25 on. For this today, I'm not going to put all of them on. I will show you how it differs with the graduated size. But I'm just going to pick them up one by one and add them on. Now what you can do, if you are wanting to speed up, is you can pick up your needles, and that's why it's helpful sometimes to differentiate. So either maybe having a little bit of, like a colour, like a nail polish or something on the bottom of one, so you can distinguish which is the top and which is the bottom. But you can think, right, well, I need to do the top one. So you can take your top needle and you can speed up by literally just popping them on like so. I would suggest you push it right down through the cord though, just to make sure, because when I've done it like this, And I know I'm doing them both. There is a chance you can get it on the wrong one, or it might not go all the way through. So rather than pulling them all the way down, you can sometimes just pop them onto your needle like so. So you can see I'm going, essentially that's my pattern. And slide them down. Oh, just me. Thank you so much. You've been very kind. It's really, really straightforward, and it gives this really lovely effect. And so I think it's very nice kind of summer wear. I suppose with being called Trellis and making me think of, colourful flowers and the garden. It's just nice to have a little bit of sunshine. So if I'm making a bracelet, for my wrist, I only probably want about 6.5 inches. And I do want to graduate into the large beads as well. So I might do about 2 inches of this, 2 inches of the other. Let's add a little bit more on. So for the necklace, I'd be using 25 of these because I'm just making a bracelet. I don't want it that long. So split ring going onto both. Just give it a little push down. See, it's giving that lovely little wobbled effect. Anastasia says, I have some of these in gunmetal silver, gold, Hobby Lobby. Had them on sale years ago, but I thought I'd just purchased a regular jump ring and I never used them. I have used them a couple of times. Certain designs just call for them, I think, and this is one of them. I've used them on little charm rings before. Sorry, not charm rings, charm bracelets before. And of course, it's just like a mini key ring. If you ever get a key ring, you tend to get a split ring on it. But I'd usually go for a jump ring because it's got that ability to open and close it easier. You can, of course, you will be able to open that up so you can thread things through it. Just there, you can just push that bit down and you can slide something else in. But for this, I just think I don't have to worry about having them perfectly closed. It's going to give that illusion of having 2 jump rings on, and it's just going to space them out really lovely and add that zigzag effect in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I'll leave it as 11. But for you, if you're making a necklace, I'd pop on 25. Then when I'm going to go and graduate into the larger size, which is the 8mm, nothing changes. It's exactly the same. So I'm just going to take my larger bead and pop it on the top, bringing both of my needles together for the split ring to go over both threads. And then the larger bead again, the 8mm, will just go on the bottom thread. Bringing my needles back together. Placing that split ring over both. And then when I give that a little pull, it will give that lovely kind of curve in the middle. And then back to the top. You just check that's the top one. So I do like to lay it flat on my mat, just so I can, I'm not going to get those crossed over. They won't sit properly together if I've got one missing on each side. I need to just keep alternating between that. Kath says this is pretty, lovely for the summertime. It really, really is. So split ring onto both, alternating the beads from the top to the bottom. Now the beads have got a lovely drill hole in it, but it's such an easier way of threading them on with having those large eye needles. Just place my needles together to pop my split ring onto both and slide that down. And it can be a little tricky when you're using such a long length of the Rattail. But as you get going, you're folding it up. So it's gonna, as long as we're still just checking, we're adding to the top and the bottom, it's pretty straightforward. I add 6 of these on. So for the necklace, I'd be adding 23 beads of the 8mm. And then I'm going to go back to the 6mm and add on 25 of those. So let's see measurement wise where I'm up to now. 4 inches. Yeah, okay, I might go back and add the 6 on. And how many did I have? 11. I'm a couple of beads short. That's typical, isn't it? I need to have it symmetrical. I mean, I could take it off, but I think I'm just going to have to leave it as it is. I want the same on one side as I do on the other. So really, I think I'm 1 bead short there, but it's going to be what it's going to be. So then you won't be bead short. Obviously, I've already made my necklaces and my kit. And I didn't have an extra. So split ring onto both. And then I'm just going to graduate back down again to the 6. I don't want to be rustling in my bag, but I do want to find an extra bead. No, I'll just be rustling in my bag. Should have prepped a bit better, shouldn't I? So bead onto the top one, going back down the size now to the 6mm, split ring onto both. Yolanda, I'm not too sure on the delivery. It's usually I think it's very quick. Obviously United States is the other side of the world, but I'm not too sure. You could check with the warehouse, or when you go on the website, it should have some kind of courier options, and it should be able to tell you like expected delivery date, or you can pay, I think, for like express shipping and things like that. I don't do any of that technical stuff. I literally just pick the beads, make the products, and then let the warehouse and the warehouse team work their magic that way. But usually they are very, very quick to get things out. I know people in the UK have often said, they've ordered in the morning, they've had a dispatch notification, and sometimes it comes like, the following day. So hopefully there won't be too much difference. So again, just alternating between the sizes and popping my split ring on both. I've done the top, so I'm now going to do the bottom. You could as well, if you wanted to, if you're going to multi-buy and get the 2 kits, of course you can change up the colours of the beads that you're using if you wanted to include both. You could use the smaller in one colour, the larger in another, whatever you fancy. So I will have usually used 50 beads of the smaller 6mm for the length that I like, but it's entirely up to you. And of course you can make it adjustable with your clasp at the end. But I always keep 2 beads in addition to that, just to do the tail ends, because I think it's nice to have those little kind of tassels at the end. Because I'm low on beads, I'm going to use the larger size today for my end tassels, which I think will work just as good. So split ring on to both. Top, split ring on to both, and bottom with just the bead. So once you've added all of the beads on that you want and you've got the length that you're after, let me just see. Yeah, I really want the extra bead. No. Then I'm gonna, oh, sorry, just wobbling my camera about. I'm just going to make sure that I finish with my bead. And I can take off my large eye needles at this point if I want to. So I'm just going to tie another overhand knot, and I want that knot to be close to the bead. So I'm going to take both ends of my cord and I'm going to make a loop and then bring it through the middle of the loop. I'm not doing any fancy surgeon's knots or anything like that. It's just that overhand loop. I'm keeping it quite loose. I'm going to do as I would with pearl knotting, in the case if I just want that nice and tight. So I'm going to take my pliers or my T-pin or whatever it is. I'm just going to hold it close up to that bead. You can see I've got that lovely loose knot. And then by pulling on those threads, I can get that nice up and close, and then just push it down. And then my knot is finishing nice and close to that last bead. And now I'm going to make an adjustable clasp. And obviously if I have got a bracelet, this is going to fit me just lovely. But I am going to make it adjustable, just in case I want to wear it a little bit looser. Of course, I'm making a bracelet here, but on your necklace, you might want to have it so it's adjustable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some more little knots. I'm going to take my flower clasp and I'm just going to place those 2 threads either side of that flower, so I know how large I want that knot to be. I'm going to be able to get it in and out with ease. So I want that first knot to be positioned here. I'm just going to do exactly the same. I'm going to pinch it where I want it to be, an overhand knot. And you can see I'm just pulling it through with my fingers and pushing it up. Do it slowly. So I've got enough just to be able to get that through quite comfortably. And I can get it out quite comfortably. We don't want it too tight because we've got to make sure that all those lovely petals on the flower can fit through. And then I'll do the same again. So just pop it through just so I can see there or thereabouts where I'd like that next knot to be positioned. You're probably only going to make it about, I don't know, maybe 1 centimetre up, if that. Holding on to where I want that knot to be. Just making a little loop, bringing the ends through, and then sliding that knot up. So now I can make that adjustable. I can fasten it here, I can fasten it here, and you could keep going with that if you wanted to. When you're happy with the length that you've got and your tassel, you're going to start on your tassels when you're not so complete. So again, if you want to, you can add your large eye needle. I tend to go for the 6mm beads with this, but haven't got them to hand, so I'm going to just do my larger bead. just to show if you don't use a needle, and I haven't prepped this, you can still get those beads through with pretty much ease. But it is quicker. So I'm just going to tie a little knot. So I'm going to decide where I want my dangle, whether I want my dangles right up close or a little bit longer. And I'm going to tie a little knot again. I'm going to do a double knot this time because I want to make sure that bead doesn't fall off. So I'm just going to do a double knot. So knotting over that last knot. Just do it nice and slow so you've got control over it. And then I always push my bead down just to check it's not going to slip over the bottom. And then I would like my next one to be sitting in around the same place. So I'm going to do a little loop, but before I pull that closed, I can pop my T-pin or my pliers in and just adjust where I want it. So I'm going to kind of line it up there or thereabouts with the last one before I pull that down. And where I'm happy with the position of that, I'm just going to knot over again. And I want to knot on top of that last knot. It's nice and slow, giving me all that control. And then again, pull that bead down just to check it's not going to come off. Then I'm going to take my scissors, and for any additional thread, I'm just going to cut it fairly close to that knot. If you wanted to, you could dab a little bit of glue or clear nail varnish, or if you had a thread zapper or a lighter, you could even singe the ends if you wanted to. But those knots, if this did fray, it wouldn't affect it. And you can see then that is done and dusted. So this is my bracelet version. But today we're doing the Trellis Crackle necklaces. So you can see how they would sit as a necklace. I can't show you because if I hang that up, okay, I'll make it nice and rounded so it fits in. So you can see here I've got the smaller 6mm, and then it's graduating into the larger 8mm and back into the 6. Anastasia says to Heather, it depends on the mail service and which location it's going to be sorted out, or this depends whereabout in the States you are. Heather says, I get stuff from America and it takes about 7 days. So that's working the other way round, Heather, if you're getting it from the States to the UK. This is your beautiful blue. Again, just made using 25 of the 6mm. 23 beads in the 8, and then another 25. You can do whatever you want. All I would suggest is what's on one side is the same as the other, just so you've got this section here as your lovely kind of center. So that is the beautiful blue on the silver. We've got the grey, which is on the rhodium. I mean, they just look like ice. I know we're saying, oh, it's such a lovely summer make, but I mean, that in the winter, I'd be very happy with. Rachel says she loves the blue. I do too. I'll leave them there so you can see as I go. This is the grey. Is it grey pink rather than grey purple? It is grey pink. And that's with the rhodium split rings. Again, really easy just to make that adjustable clasp so you can decide where to have it. And then lastly, but by no means least, is that gorgeous bright pink on the rose. So you can see the colour. And you can see little bits of this Rattail at its sides, not front on, but to the side you can. And the Rattail's a beautiful colour as well, which I think just accentuates the colour in the beads. So they are your Crackle Trellis necklaces today. Each kit makes up 2 necklaces. They are £8.99 per kit, or you can get 2 kits for £15 if you wish to do so. I will bring this one up. Camille says, very, very pretty. Thank you, Natalie. You're welcome. Heather says she's liking the pink. Sandra's asking what length is the necklace. That depends on how many extenders that you want to put on, how much Rattail you use, and how many beads you choose to use. Here, this one, the one that I've done, is 12 inches, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, almost 19 inches is that one. Don't ask me how to do it in centimetres. I'll do it in centimetres. So that would be 30. I've only got my little ruler. 30, 40, about 47 centimetres. Again, that's just using 2 of the extenders. You could have that as long as you want, and then you could make it shorter and then larger. Thanks, Heather. You're very, very welcome. Sheila says, lovely make. Jan says, thank you. Anastasia says, they're so beautiful. Sorry, Barbara, you've missed us. Head over. As soon as I've finished, you'll be able to watch it back. So I'm on YouTube, Natalie Pattern Jewellery. You can watch us on Totally Beads YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on the website. Just go on the website, totallybeads.co.uk, and then click and watch the tutorial back. Hopefully I've answered any questions that you may have had. And hopefully if you are wanting to get them and you're not based in the UK, that you're happy with your purchase and they come soon. We do have a wonderful dedicated team at the warehouse that are happy to answer any of your questions. You can send them an email or even phone call if you want to. I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday. And I'm going to be doing some little charm bracelets with you on Wednesday. We did have to slightly change up the schedule and the plan, which is no big deal because we're still going to do it. We're just doing it at a slightly later date. I know Mina in particular has been very keen to do one of the things I was going to do. But I think you're going to love these little charm bracelets instead, Mina. They are very, very colourful. They are very, very sweet. I think they're going to make lovely spring and Easter gifts, personally, I think, anyway. So if you can come and join me on Wednesday, they're really straightforward to make, and I'll be doing those then. And then the following week on Monday, I've got a lovely wire project with you. So I'm going to be doing kind of graduated beads, gemstone beads, my favourite things, wire and gemstones. I'm going to be very happy next week. And you could do all sorts with them. I'm going to do them as bracelets, but you could make them into a necklace. You could turn them into a brooch. I'm hoping to do a similar design, maybe making a hairpin with them as well, just for me. So if you can come and join me, we're always here. Well, Mondays and Wednesdays I'm here, and we've got lots of lovely things lined up for you for the foreseeable future. So thank you for being with me today. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you very soon. Take care, everyone.